and welcome to my channel. This is the Jessica Brimer channel and I'm evangelist Jess Brimer. I watched the Harry interview. Just like most people, I watched the Prince Harry interview on ITV, and it was so riveting. It was so enlightening. It was juicy, yes. I know most of us liked the gossipy bit. It was and it showed me a side of Harry I never knew, that hasn't really been well highlighted in the media, and that's his intelligence. He came out as very intelligent young man, very forthright and very sincere. That's my take on it. A lot of people have their own take, but it's a family issue. It's a family problem, and most of us are saying that family issues should be left within the family. I agree, but his is not just an ordinary family. This is the royal family. The whole world is watching. The whole world wants to know what's going on in the royal family, and he was honest. He had to be honest. And I'm sure a lot of people see themselves in Harry. A lot of families will see their family in what Harry has portrayed as the goings on in the royal family, especially when there is another woman, the other woman involved, when there's a stepmother that caused your mother a lot of misery. That's not so easy for anybody any human being to digest. But I'm not going there. That's not the part that really stuck with me. First of all, I like to say this. When people die of suicide, when people commit suicide and die, we all say, oh, why didn't he speak up? Why didn't she speak up? A man called Twitch died recently, and everybody is like, he didn't say anything. He didn't tell anybody anything. We didn't even know he was sad. We didn't know he was so miserable to the point of committing suicide. When Caroline Flack died, it was the same thing. Oh, she should have spoken up. She should have sought for help. Oh, she should have confided in somebody. Now, Prince Harry is speaking up, and we're castigating him. What are we saying to other people that will want to speak up when they are going through emotional trauma? What Harry is saying is, I'm going through pain. I'm going through a lot of emotional pain. My brother has hurt me. My father has hurt me. Yes, you just can't say all of us, our brothers hurt us, our father hurt us, so he shouldn't speak up. No, people handle emotional problems in different ways. He's saying that I'm up to here with it. I can't handle it anymore. Somebody help me. That interview, all the interviews, even the book he wrote, they are all a cry for help. Prince Harry is crying out for help. And I loved the bit where he talked about unconscious bias. Oh yes, yeah. Let me get this off the way now. Oh yeah, my elder brother, of course, wouldn't want my younger brother in his circle when they were growing up. Just as Harry said, William wouldn't want him in his circle. I wouldn't want my younger sister in my circle when I was growing up. Yes, it happens in families, but I don't think that's the main issue that Harry is worried about. He's pained that when they accepted their father's marriage to the other woman, when he was there for William, when William and Kate courted and married, he never fought him. He never quarreled with him about his choice of a wife. He is pained that they did not accept his wife the way he would have loved them to. When William says, oh, the staff are complaining about your wife, they are saying your wife is this and that and that. What Harry expected was for William to empathize and say, William, why don't you just take my wife the way you've taken your wife? Why don't you react the way you react if somebody were to be castigating your wife this way? I guess that's what Harry expected of William. And that's, one of the things that caused him some emotional pain. Like, you're not accepting my wife. You're not accepting my own. Why? I accepted yours. That's exactly what he's trying to portray. But the aspect that I really loved in the interview was when he talked about unconscious bias. When he said that the royal family, we are not racist, but yes, we have unconscious bias at some time. In certain situations, we have unconscious bias. And unconscious bias is something every human being has it. Every human being. In Nigeria, when you get to position of authority and you're supposed to employ people, you employ people from your state, people from your place. That's the natural thing people do in countries like Africa. Oh yes. When I met my husband, when my husband and I eventually got married, he said to me that when he was younger, he used to tell his family that any day I wake up and tell you people I want to marry an Igbo woman, please chain me hands and legs and take me to the psychiatric clinic. Just know that I'm mad because I can never marry an Igbo woman. He said he had that bias against Igbos to the extent he swore he'll never marry an Igbo woman. But then I came, an Igbo woman, different from what he thought Igbo women were like, and eventually married me. So everyone has an unconscious bias. In Igbo land, Mbise people are in no-go area. Oh, no, don't go near Mbise people. If a snake comes into your house and Mbise man comes in, first of all, kill the Mbise man before the snake. That's how bad the unconscious bias towards Mbise people is in Igbo land. But that doesn't mean we are racist. We don't want to be seen as racist. These have come out of things we believed over the years. Stories that have been impacted, that have impacted our reasoning, our thoughts, that have been passed down to us from generation to generation. That's where the unconscious bias comes from. I don't blame any black man for, any white man for having unconscious bias towards me. I don't, because I know I have unconscious bias towards certain people, but I love the Brits. I love the white men. I love the fact that God has used them to teach me about compassion, about empathy, about consideration for others, especially strangers. They are so welcoming. They are so tolerant. They are wonderful. I love them. I can't see anything wrong that the white man or the British man has done that will make me say, oh, I hate them, I can't stand them. I love them. They are wonderful. All the theory have been taught in the church about love and compassion. I saw the white man practicalize it in this country. Oh yes, that's my truth. That's my experience. I don't care what you think about the white man. That's your own truth and your own experience. But I have to say my own truth and my experience. I have so many stories that I can share with you, but that would be for another day. I think I'm going to do a video about why I just love the Brits and the average white man. I'm just going to share that that video so that I can tell you my story. But for now, I'm just talking about the fact that each and every one of us have got unconscious bias. Each and every one of us have got that racist thing in our blood. We prefer to do things with people that look like us and people that talk like us. So we don't label people and tag them and cancel them and label them as demons just because they have that unconscious bias. So I was so happy when Harry came up with the fact that the royal family are not racist, but yes, just like everybody else, they have unconscious bias. Do you know what I think about the Indians in this country? Indians hate blacks. That's my conclusion. It will take more than a Harry interview to make me change my mind. That's my unconscious bias because I think they have serious unconscious bias towards blacks. Consider the pharmacies in the UK. You will never see, the pharmacies are owned mostly by Indians. You will never see them employ black people in their Indian-owned pharmacies. They employ just their own. Do I tell you my experience with an Indian doctor in this country? The GP practice I used to use for many years. There was a white doctor and an Indian woman. A woman. But the white doctor was nicer to me. A British man, Dr. Price. He was so wonderful to me. And when he heard I was pregnant in my 50s, he was over the moon. But let me tell you my experience with the Indian doctor, a woman. When they were running tests on me about fertility issues and all that, she said, why are you interested in having a baby at your age? No, just because Janet Jackson did it in her 50s doesn't mean you should do it. I didn't desire pregnancy because Janet Jackson was pregnant or had a baby. I wanted to have my baby from the time I got married. So why would she talk to me like that? An Indian woman doctor in my practice said that to me. It was so painful. I was still going through the test and they said, oh, that I had a tumor here. They call it prolactinoma. And the prolactinoma is the #1 cause of infertility. They needed to shrink that tumor, get it out before, I would be able to even get pregnant or carry a baby. The Indian woman was angry that they were running such tests on me. She was like, you're not sure. There's no certainty you're going to have a baby in your 50s just because Janet Jackson did it. You don't have to decide just because Janet Jackson did it. Who says I was desiring a baby because Janet Jackson did it? That was so painful thing to hear from her. She wouldn't say that to an Indian woman, her fellow Indian woman. No, she wouldn't. Well, let me continue. When eventually I got pregnant, I hid it from everybody until I was about 4 months. And mind you, when you get pregnant in the UK, you're supposed to see your GP and let your GP refer you to the experts that take care of your pregnancy, especially if you're a high-risk pregnancy, as they called mine, because I was in my 50s, mid-50s. So I didn't see her for 4 months. I was supposed to have seen after 12 weeks. I didn't. I was just in my house, hiding and until the pregnancy started showing. And then reluctantly I went to her to refer me to the maternity where I would need to be going for my antenatal, the maternity unit. Very wonderful unit. So when I got to her and she saw me, no, she actually was over the phone. I called her over the phone to tell her that I needed her to make that referral for me. And I think I sent her the details of my pregnancy and everything. You know what she said to me? She said, no, you can't be in this practice because you don't live in this area anymore. I said, no, we have discussed that years back when I moved from that area. And I told you that I was happy to remain with the practice. Why are you telling me now that you can't be my doctor again because I don't live in your area? When we discussed it years back, you told me that you will allow me remain in the practice, but that if I needed home visits, you wouldn't allow me have home visits. So why now? I'm 4 months pregnant. You're chasing me away from your practice because suddenly you realize I don't live near you. I wouldn't even be doing antenatal in your practice. I'll be doing antenatal in the big hospital that is close to where I live. So why do you want to throw me away from your practice? She told her secretary to tell me to send me a text and say that just call this number. This number will send you to where you can get help or you can be attended to. I went to her. I said to her, you can't throw me away from the practice now. I can't start looking for a new GP now. Now that you're just supposed to refer me to a maternity where for me to do my antenatals. Why are you sending me away now? I mean, I just could not wrap my head around it. She wouldn't do that to a 54-year-old pregnant Indian woman. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't. She would be happy that, wow, you're pregnant at last. You decided. She was really angry because remember she had said to me, just because Janet Jackson did it doesn't mean you would do it. Eventually, I left her practice, but I made sure I remained until I had my baby. She saw my baby. I consulted with her the first time after, I left the hospital and then before I changed the GP. But what am I saying? Indians hate blacks. That's my own unconscious bias towards them. And I know they have their own unconscious bias towards me. But it would be very difficult for me to insist they are racist. Every Indian is a racist. But what Harry interview told us, made us realize is that we all have got unconscious bias in us. And it's true. But my reason for doing this video on Harry's interview is this. Please, where are the peacemakers in the United Kingdom? Where are the peacemakers? Harry has said, yes, I want a relationship with my father. I still want a relationship with my brother. I'm hurting. I'm pained. Everyone, when any normal human being would be pained. Why don't the peacemakers rise up and be counted? Rise up and make peace between Harry and his family. Rather than castigate him, we encourage people to cry out. He has cried out now. Do we want him to kill himself before we do something? People say, oh, he's making so much money with his wife, doing Netflix and this. I agree, but emotional problems cannot be solved by money. Money doesn't solve emotional problems, That's why we say the rich also cry. Well, that's why when we pray for people, we say, may you not have the kind of problems that money cannot solve. Because that kind of problem that money cannot solve can kill you with all the billions you have in the bank. Please, I make this appeal. Let's do something. Let the peacemakers arise and make peace between Harry and his family before something terrible happens. He has cried out. Let's not castigate him. Let's not castigate. They say, oh, men don't cry. Men don't mourn. Men shouldn't show their emotions. But when they commit suicide, we say, oh, it's wrong. They should show their emotions. Harry is emptying up himself for us to see. He's opening up his heart. He says, I need help. I need healing. I need peace with my family. Please, may the peacemakers arise. the pastors in the Church of England, the ministers in the Church of England, expert counselors, people who say, oh, we are the Samaritans, call us midnight if you're going through anything. Please, can we rise up now and do something for Harry? Can we rise up now and mend this broken relationship between Harry and his family? Thank you very much. I'll leave it there for now. I'm Jessica John Brimer. Please subscribe to my channel. Please share this with your friends and your enemies so that, we can grow on this channel. Thank you. I'm glad you stopped by.